Hello, I'm Leanna Treese, 3rd degree Wiccan High Priestess, non-denominational Christian ministress, Buddhist practitioner, shamanic follower, whatever you want to say of me, yeah, that's me. I am an eclectic spiritualist. That's the way I like to tag and title myself if I've got to, because it means that I can take and give from any and all religions as I wish, you know, and be happy and content with that. Practice in whatever way, form, or fashion that I would like to, add to or take away any particular thing within a ritual, you know, to be able to add new ways or forms or fashions to my rituals, you know, be able to have a singing bowl of the Buddhist monks on my table, or a pentagram chalice, and whatever else I want at all the same time if I would like to. And I think that that's the way it should be. It should be relaxed. It should be calm. It should be doing the things that you would like to do when you would like to do it. Why? Because this religion is your religion. It's what comes from inside of you. It is who you are, and it's something you've got to walk within for the rest of your life. Spirituality and religion is not just something that flies by night. It's not something you pick and choose or take off like the badge of a cafeteria worker. You know, it's something that, quite simply, you are always and forever and will be. It's that you dwell within every day. I do not condone the idea of becoming fanatical about any religion, and a lot of people do take it to those limits. I believe that the deities would like for you to call to them when you want to, when you really want to. Pray to them and give thanks to them when you want to, because, you know, I mean, otherwise it would be empty. Quite simply, you know, you don't make it a ritual every day at a certain time to set your time and say, okay, I'm going to do this every day at 3 o'clock, because on some days when 3 o'clock rolls around, you feel like crap. You don't want to do anything, and you're forcing yourself. So, again, it's empty. It's empty. The deities don't want it. They don't appreciate it because they know that you're not feeling it and you're doing it emptily. Do it at the time that you feel good about it. The time that you feel strongest with it. You know, that's why a lot of times while practicing within a covenant, things don't feel good or right to you, because every time that covenant gets together, you're not always going to wish to be there. Why? Because at that particular time, you may not feel that spiritual or ritualistic, or even to want to socialize at that particular time. You might want to be alone at home sipping hot chocolate. You know, and that should be your prerogative. At the same time, I do say, you know, that it is always good to fellowship within any path. I mean, because to meet with people that are like you or think like you, you know, is always a good thing. It's always a blessing. Not to mention you can take and give informations and share. You know, all in all, you know, another main thing that I would like to talk to you about today is, you know, the fact that your religion and your spiritual path, like I said, it's not something you take off or put on every day. You know, it's that which you are and will be in the future, and it takes a lot of work to get there. It requires you to study and to be interested in the topics that you're studying, so that you could actually do this for a long time to come. Because one thing about the witchcraft, Wiccan, or any pagan or Christian beliefs is that you are the knowledge and wisdom that you take or give. You are that which you share. You know, you cannot just put on a set of black clothing and say, okay, I'm a witch. Or you can't put on a pentagram and say, I'm a witch. You can't just throw on a cross and say, hey, I'm a Christian. You know, or, you know, anything of that nature. You can't read one book and then profess to be that. You have to study. You have to want it. It has to be something that's so interesting to you that you would want to study it. Nobody should have to try to make you, and no one is that interested in you choosing your path except maybe within the Christian belief. You know, no one is out to recruit you or force you to study anything unless you really want it, because, you know, pagan path followers generally are, you know, all about what you're going to get out of it is what you're going to put into it. And that if you want it, then you've got to do it. You've got to put yourself into it or through it. You know, otherwise it's worthless and you've got nothing out of it. And no one can choose that for you, is what a lot of us would say. Even in the Christian belief, I mean, to a large degree they feel that way. But there are a lot of people that feel that they want to force their kids to go to church, and I feel that that's wrong, because that's where that kid is going to resent the church anyway in the long run. You know, and so I implore you to urge your children, but don't force them into anything, and by all means give them a choice. If they choose one path or another, be at one with them on that, and let them be the individual, the independent individual that you want them to be in the long run. Because if you're picking and choosing their life for them now, what are they going to be like when they grow up? You know, all in all, you know, it's not the amulet you wear, it's not the clothing you wear, it's not the glorification that you do or the acting in any way, form, or fashion. It is that which you put into it, that which you discuss with others, that which you enjoy, that which you practice when you feel like it, and tying all of that in together, it's, you know, it is supposed to be that which you feel that you could dwell within for the rest of your life. Because let me tell you, brother, sister, it is. It's not something you're just choosing for the season. You know, it's not something you're just choosing for the moment or the year. It is that which you are becoming or are now and always. It's not a planned thing. It's something that you have become or are, and you're to be happy in that. So construct it around what makes you happy. Do things within it that makes you want to do it all the time. Don't become overly fanatical about it, and by all means, don't recruit. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes religion being thrown in their face all the time. No one that is not within your path wants to sit there and chronically hear about it day in and day out. You're going to ruin your friendships. It doesn't hurt to talk about it with them when they're interested. But remember, keep your topics kind of, you know, to a 15-minute minimum or something. Otherwise, they're going to lose the attention span and they're going to want to do anything else. They're not going to want to hang around you. Otherwise, you stick within a 15-minute span of time. You know, put in your 2 cents, or you give them, you know, your input on the ideals or whatever, but make the big impression within 15 minutes and then leave it. You know, unless they're asking more questions. But remember, there's always a boundary there. You know, but dwelling on and on and on with it is going to seem recruitive, and you as a friend might be trying to get them in on it with you, which is okay and fine. However, you know, like 15 minutes, if you ain't got their interest, then leave them alone on it. Otherwise, you're going to ruin your friendship. This is something that a person has to want to be. Otherwise, it's not going to be. And, you know, neither will your friendship if all you're talking about is religion and they're not highly religious or spiritual to begin with. Which, by the way, I'm not one that really considers myself highly religious anyway. Religious means that religiously, you sit there and you do the same thing at the same time every day, or at every meal you pray, or you go to church the same day every week, or whatever. I'm not highly religious. That means that you are doing things in an algorithm that's synonymous with itself day in and day out, week in, week out, the same time every day, and so forth. I am more spiritual. I am fly by the seat of the pants. I do what I want to do moment by moment, or not do anything at all if I don't feel it. I give thanks whenever I want to, and when I take tea, I pour a cup for the deities to show them that I'm thinking of them, and then I give it to the earth at the end of this tea session. You know, basically, just be yourself, but be light, be the good guru, be happy. Take the deities into consideration with all things that you do. You know, listen to lighthearted, joyous music. Don't be dark-moded. That doesn't mark a witch. I mean, unless you are a dark witch, a dark practitioner, and I'm sorry, I don't really condone that. I stay within the light, or gray for the most part, and gray is like where you could tend to bend other people's will to a light degree, but not control their existence with it, and not cast against anybody for dark or negative. But for the most part, I like to stay in the light. That means I help people with what they want, you know. Now, light magic means basically you're doing things for yourself and you're practicing for light matters. Gray would be that you could cast for others, on others, but as long as it's a fairly lighthearted reasoning, for lack of a better term, you know, which would be if someone wants them to be with them. But see, I will urge that person to be generic rather than to target a particular individual first. I will also, you know, whenever I do the love spell for them, I will tell the spell work that what it's supposed to do is take any feelings that that person already has for the one that's seeking out that other person's attention, that to take any feelings that are already inside, stir them up and amplify them, or bring them out, preferably just bring them out, you know, within the person, if I feel that, you know, that person already has feelings. But do be careful, these things always backfire. You know, they will come back on you, good or bad. And, you know, so you have to be careful with what you say or you do in these spell works. Nonetheless, what is a spell work? It's a glorified prayer, but with a step-by-step algorithm of actions that lead to the advancement of what it is that's wanted, rather than lighting a candle and being all about words. See, in Christianity, you have a lot of words and little action as you light a candle and maybe an incense. And with Wicca or paganism of any kind, then basically you've got a lot of action and little words. You know, but either way, they all strive for the same principles or purposes, whether either of the religions want to acknowledge that in each other. You know, nonetheless, that's what it's all about, is making it for yourself, being who you want to be, but being it or not being it. I mean, you don't do anything halfway, because halfway isn't going to get it done. You know, you go into a prayer or you do a spell work to acquire something. You either want it or you don't, but you don't maybe want it. It doesn't work that way. Don't be that way. Be precise. Be strong in your faith and really want what it is you're setting out to get. Because that's the only way that a spell work or a prayer is going to work. All in all, you know, be happy with who you are. Let other people see your light within yourself for the most part, and don't push it on them. And don't think that just because you're a witch you have to be dark, because we're not generally dark-moded people. You know, we're like everybody else. We're in your local grocery stores, ringing up your grocery items, sacking your groceries. We're at your gas stations, changing your tires, working in the office next to you. We're your bosses. We're your employees. We're everyone. And just like you are. Whoever you are. I mean, whether we're talking Christian or pagan faith alike. You know, we have to get along, because we're going to exist on this earth together a very long time to go. And, you know, life is too short to make it miserable and to be about hate. It's the same with the other races. I mean, you know, if everyone is going around always prejudicing against something, whether it's racist or whether it's anti-pagan or anti-Christian or whatever, you know, then we're all going to be miserable and hating each other forever. You know, and that's not who I am. I'm very much at one with everybody. I believe that this is my peaceful space, and everyone is welcome to that, as long as they stay peaceful. But as I said in another video I did, that anytime that my space becomes anything other than peaceful, I do something about it. And that isn't me being mean. It isn't me resisting you or not being at one with you. It is me saying, I am going to live in my own existence, and it's not going to be miserable. And I have the right for this. So, that's what I advise for you. You know, and I'm going to be making a lot more videos to come. We're going to go deep into the heart of how to do spells and so forth. But I'm starting at the bare necessities first, the barest beginnings. And that is to teach those that need to get caught up on these other religions. And we're going to touch on maybe all religions, you know, who knows. But we're going to get there slowly, but we're going to do it a lot. How about that? So be at one with me, be a part of me within my domain, dominion, whatever you want to call it. But be light and be pure, okay? Till next time. Merry part.